What is a scam not many people notice? When a hiring company say we work hard but play hard, it means everyone is overworked and an alcoholic. Mandatory happy hours. The Verizon $1 scam. Verizon tacked on a $1 fee onto 8% of their customers' bills each month, so over the course of the year, they did it to every customer. About 150. 000. Their rationale was 50% wouldn't notice and just pay the charge, or would notice and wouldn't spend any time fighting a $1 charge. 50% would notice the charge and call to have it removed. Of those, 35% would get frustrated while on the call and give up. This added approximately $120. 000 to the bottom line each year, 3 total, until caught. Once caught, they paid a $25. 000 fine. The ads on Facebook that say, "We're sorry to announce that we're closing our store." It's made to look like a page you might follow, but you've never heard of before, and that they might be suddenly offering huge deals. But it's like my dad always taught me. A lot of going out of business sales are really going out for business sales. I have gotten ads for the same hideous Ren-Fair hippie stoner chick clothing store under about half a dozen different names. They've all been going out of business since April. When the value pack price is higher than the regular pack price, the trickier the grams to dollar conversion, the easier to trick people. Or the bottle says 33% more, but it isn't free. It's just a bigger package. Funerals. People often want to buy more expensive coffins to honor their loved ones, and in turn the company is selling them profit. My dad literally wanted an old pine box. He told my mom that constantly. When my parents were picking out a coffin for my grandmother, he gasped, L. There it is. Double quote. The old pine box was in a corner, covered in cobwebs. My mom replied, "Patrick, your family will never forgive me if I put you in that." Double quote. His family all found it hilarious. When he did pass, my mom got him something simple, but not a pine box. When the boss says we're a family, we're family. Except I can disown you anytime I want if it means me being better off. Because you know. FCK the worker's life lol. Facebook surveys. Something like "which Frozen character are you?" tricks users into giving out answers to common security questions. I'm sure a lot of those could get direct access to the user's account by just clicking on the link as well. That renting a modem from your ISP is a huge waste of money. They'll tell you, "Oh, you should rent one because tech is always changing and it might go out of date." When I moved out on my own 4 years ago, I bought a modem at Best Buy for $70. If I had been renting from the greedy ISPs this whole time, I would have close to $500 on rental fees. And while tech is always changing, a modem is not something that changes very much. So please, if you are renting one, go out and buy yourself a modem. When someone is loitering at a gas station and gives you a sob story about needing money for gas. I got a sob story once. Usually I just say no. This guy was actually asking for gas, not money. Said he was heading somewhere and needed just a bit of gas. I told him to show me his gas gauge. Sure enough, he was on E. So I put $15 in his tank. He seemed thankful and drove off. He was either on the level or very serious in the details of his scam. Companies like Ticketmaster with their ridiculous service fees for online transactions. I remember the good old days when the ticket price on StubHub was the final price. Now you gotta add an absurd amount. If you have cable TV or internet or anything like that, the promos they offer on that stuff is almost never legit. Like $25 to $50 higher than the advertised price, sort of wrong. There's local sports fees, equipment fees, broadcast fees, discounts you only get for certain times, etc. Example. My cable company advertises $69.99 a month TV internet phone, but if you actually price it out it's over $100 a month. I posted another reply before. But also I had one more. Carfaxes. The website almost scammed me and my boyfriend last week. Me and BF have a 2019 Hyundai Kona SE edition. Brand new off the lot, not accidents or tickets. We checked Carfax a weeks ago when shopping new car insurance and Carfax told me our car had 5 reports on it. We had to pay $50 if we wanted to see. Well, we have a lease and alongside new insurance. We wanted to refinance our lease too. When we saw what Carfax said, we called the dealer immediately to see what happened. The dealer looked up our report and found absolutely nothing and told us Carfax will say there is a report, make you pay for it, and then tell you that nothing is wrong. It is a ploy to make you pay for a service you don't need. So yay. When checking Carfax, just be aware. It may try to prompt you to pay for information you don't and should not have to. Freemium games. Multi-level marketing. Channel networks. Cable TV. And carnival games. Beware of pickpocket signs in touristy areas. It triggers an individual to reflexively check their pockets, allowing observant pickpockets to know where your wallet is. Similarly to this, in public transport a pickpocket will often throw or place an empty wallet on the floor, then point it out and ask if anybody lost a wallet. You instinctively check your pocket to make sure it's there. A good pickpocket will memorize 8-10 people, their hand placement, go to work and leave on the next stop with 4 or 5 more wallets more than they had when they got on. Long distance charges by the phone company. Roaming charges in general. Buying diamonds. Unless you buy them all and limit releasing them to the market in order to create an artificial scarcity, then tie it to Hollywood link marketing driving up the demand. Printer ink. One cartridge costs less than $50 to produce. Edit. I never expected this comment to blow up so much. Everyone, thank you for the upvotes. Buy a good laser printer. We had one at my work. Printed full color. Black and white, I believe it was a brother brand. Commerce started with a B. Looked at the cost for our ink, it was like $55 for a cartridge. Sounds expensive, right? That BTCH would print off thousands of pages that were almost full color before it would even start screaming at you to change the cartridge. We printed off probably 150-200 pages a day that needed full color, plus around 200 more that was black-white. A cartridge would last us almost a week. A radio did some giveaway thing where you had to call them. They just pre-recorded that and played it. Guess how I noticed it? They used the same thing 3+ times. Mostly everything you hear on the radio is pre-recorded. And they would never allow a live caller on the air. Too much risk for offensive language. Edit. Source. My husband is a radio DJ. Might not be the same everywhere, but anything other than the small privately owned stations, which are few and far between, are pre-recording most things. Even if it's only by a few minutes. Life coaching. Not only is it a huge scam, but also a lot of life coaching schools are structured like cults. Similar to Scientology. Please beware. You trying to tell me the barely high school graduate, thrice divorced alcoholic who is upside down on her subprime mortgaged house isn't a good person to take any and all advice from? Adobe Creative Suite. It used to be that you could just buy the program you wanted in one lump sum. But now you have to choose a plan with a bunch of features you don't want and pay $50 a month. The beauty industry. For all genders. Some people genuinely enjoy getting dolled up. And do it for the pleasure of it. And the way it makes them feel. Great. But for most people, society spends your whole life telling you that the way you look is a problem. And these companies profit off of the resulting insecurities. I just read a thread by a woman who was complaining she was taken for granted at work and not promoted until she made cosmetic changes to her appearance. So many responses saying that's how it is at work. And that it applies to men too. So, it shouldn't work like that. And that it is true for men too is equally depressing. And does not make it better that it happens to women. Why can't clean and neutral dress be enough? Sunscreen. Lotion. Anything in a squeeze bottle. Everyone's instinct is to just toss it after they can't squeeze any more out. But if you cut open the bottles and scrape out the inside, you get around a 1/4 to a 1/3 more of the product. My wife just cut open our various sunscreens that we thought were out and got an almost full Tupperware container of sunscreen. Edit. To everyone saying it's not a scam. Yeah. Just something I happened to be dealing with and discussing with my wife when I saw the question and thought it fit. Still, don't throw out bottles you think are empty. Especially if, like us, you're a low-income household and need to make it all last. Certain religion cults. No offense, but there are a lot out there are trying to brainwash specifically vulnerable with their teachings, and they just take their money for donations, tithing. E1. Thank you so much, strangers, for the upvotes. This is my first time getting 100+. Have a good day. Close bracket. E2. That is my first silver. Thank you, kind stranger, that literally made my day. The wellness industry that promotes things like detox and other scams. There are many. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Believing that the media is independent, especially when they're willingly attacking someone on one channel, and on another one they're supporting him. The fun part is that both channels could be managed by the same network. Hilarious. American health insurance. Think about how much your employer contributes to your health insurance, and then factor in what you contribute, and then factor in how much your insurance actually covers when you do go into the doctors, and then factor in the risk of going to a facility and then being treated by people that is not covered by your insurance. How much do you spend for services actually rendered? Not a scam exactly, since people kind of have to notice it sooner or later. But there's an airline that advertised unbelievably cheap tickets, so I mean maybe as low as a quarter of the price of their competitors. The thing is, that's the price for the flight. But you also have to pay extra for a seat, and extra for a carry-on, and extra for luggage. Then there's the airport fee, etc. Once you've gone through the whole thing, the price lands up being roughly the same as the competitors. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. But now you've already gone through the whole procedure and can't be bothered doing it all again at a different airline. So, I've tried booking a flight without getting a seat. It's a short flight. I'll rather stand than pay that much to sit down. But alas. Grass-fed beef, cruelty-free eggs, etc. If it comes from a factory farm, it is made to be as efficient and cost-effective as possible. They meet the bare minimum requirements for the label, which aren't the idealized standards you have in your head. The bipartisan failure to enforce antitrust law in the United States. If you see companies all around you with monopoly power, companies which more or less own Congress, that's why. That shop with the closing down sale that's lasted years, they ain't never closing down. Churches not paying taxes, and then engaging in political activity in violation of their 501c3 charters. In theory, putting themselves at risk for revoking their tax-exempt status, except that no one in government wants to be the one to poke that wasp nest. Amount of toothpaste. The amount in advertisements is misguiding. It's too much. Therefore more consumption and in turn more sales. A pea-size amount should do the job. This one guy approached 20 lads on a stag do in Amsterdam. Said he could take us somewhere amazing, but we must quiet. Okay, we were looking for the next bar, so we followed. He ushered us one by one into this bar doorway where a man took our entry fee, 10 guilders each I think, before going through another door into the main bar. Turns out it was free to get in and these two guys scammed us. We all laughed and hats off, was a good scam. TurboTax being free. Their website leads to a paywall no matter where you click. You have to go to a completely different web address to get the free version. The 8-hour workday. I know very few folks who put in less than 10 hours. Reasoning below. Every office job I've had provides an hour lunch. Only you're expected to work until lunch to get work done or simply prove that you've earned a raise. The pressure is even higher when your team is close-knit, and seeming like a slacker is effectively leaving folks high and dry. I work in a store. It's a small scam, but when people pretend not to have enough money at the checkouts, it's annoying. I don't mind helping out if you're legit short money, but I don't like being taken advantage of. Also, how stupid did this one lady think I was one day? She said she didn't have enough, but I could see more money in her other hand, which she suddenly found when I suggested putting something back instead. Tips in the US. Almost everyone wants tips now, and it allows businesses to underpay their employees. Tips are also unreliable, and many are still underpaid after tips. Extra data charges. Is there some intern running on a data treadmill that produces data? Am I responsible for data intern overtime? That one's fairly reasonable. All the phones are connecting to one cell tower, which can only handle a certain level of demand. Charging for texts, on the other hand, is disgusting. The amount of data used to stream one 10+ minute YouTube video could be used for hundreds of thousands of texts. Kohl's. They constantly have sales, but their stuff is so overpriced. People get 30% coupons in the mail and Kohl's cash and think they're getting great deals, but they're really not. Haha, my poor mother. Years ago we were in Kohl's and she needed one more thing for $15 because she would then get $5 Kohl's cash. I said, but you have regular cash. Why spend $10 to essentially exchange a $5 bill for credit to a store you have to drive 3 hours to get to? She did not spend extra to get the Kohl's cash. Police body cams. They cost money to equip officers with. They cost a lot more money to maintain, server storage, repairs. And they won't lose a single video of a person committing a crime, but, by golly, they'll suddenly stop working when a cop is accused of police brutality. Unfinished video games. Now, the details vary in each case, and some developers use early access crowdfunding responsibly. But when you get a situation where it's more profitable to develop a game compared to finishing it, chances are it has or is going to turn into a scam. Those YouTube and Instagram profiles that says, iPhone X giveaway. Follow my profile. Share this video to your friends. And win. Then insert 4000 hashtags here. Legalizing the sale of marijuana. I need 200k to get a license, and I need to invest 500k just to qualify for the license. Medical marijuana is also taxed in my state. I can understand taxing recreational, which they do a lot, but medical should be tax exempt. You don't pay tax on prescriptions. It can already be expensive to get approved for medical depending on where you live. Those games that promise you money for playing. Although it is technically true, the process of gaining the money is extremely tedious, and the game devs profit from ads anyway. Simply not worth the effort. When your government takes your hard-earned taxes, spends it on arms, which makes shareholders of the companies that make them ridiculously wealthy, then sends your sons and daughters to foreign lands to kill and be killed in a war you never sanctioned, and ostensibly in the name of freedom and democracy. College. For example, I have to spend $110 an hour just to practice flying in a simulator that was made in like the 1990s. And last semester my total book costs was $500 when I could have gotten them all online for free. Don't even get me started on tuition. Domino's pizza deals. They offered 50% off, so I wanted to order a pizza. What should have been like $8 turned into more like $20-25 after all the fees and shit. Xbox Live Gold PS Plus. You remember when these things were optional? You buy your console and games and can't even play them until you pay to use your own internet. Timeshares. They are extremely overpriced, and it's impossible to get out of the contract. Extended warranties on new items. If I combined all the extended warranties I've ever purchased for my car, cell phones, multiple computers, furniture etc. that I have never used once, I would be thousands of dollars richer. My advice is to put that money into a savings account for repairs as they happen instead of paying companies who prey on you valuing the newness of your recently purchased item. The products were likely designed to break exactly as that warranty expires anyway.